So I will start with the favorite question from the pandemic. Can you hear me? Awesome. Thank you for having me. So speaking about pandemic, this was actually my last conference that I have attended since that period, and now it's my first after so many years. Back then I was mostly focused on engineering, but getting ready to go in product management. Now I am a product manager for some years, and I want today to have a chat about how do we turn all those infrastructure and architectural changes and innovations in actual projects that benefit our customers. So a bit about me. I'm Ivana. I've started as an engineer a few years ago. I had the opportunity at Adobe to code the project that I currently own as a product manager and then create others. So I know a bit of both worlds, what it means to create by coding, what it means to create by imagining what the market needs. And today we'll talk about outputs, outcomes, and what did work for me in delivering projects at a very big scale. The projects that I own are handling billions of events a day with a lot of customers in the enterprise world. Adobe Analytics is the top analytics tool in the market. Perfect. I love stories, of course. Stories are inspiring. So let's imagine together that you are a PM. And again, maybe you are not a PM, but you are part of a product team, right? You are working to deliver something. So what I'm talking right now is not just if you are a PM, but also if you are a member of PM, regardless of the role. So you've decided that you need a change, and you moved towards a new company, an analytics company. So you'll have interesting challenges in handling that data. But as a great PM, when you go at night to sleep, you don't just go to sleep. You are the product manager that goes to get a very well-deserved shut-eye. And you don't just dream any product. You are dreaming about creating the future, right? This is how ideas come in product management. Perfect. You can't sleep forever, so it's time to wake up. And you looked a bit at your new company. You started to understand a bit where you are, what your product does, and so on. You dreamed, right? And you have the idea. So being an analytics tool, you do different reportings. And you notice that one of the visualizations that are most desired by users is missing, the fallout visualization. For those of you which do not know what fallout is, you can imagine a path, a customer journey path. I go on the first web page, second web page, and so on. Fallout goes to the next level. I can have rules of people that started on mobile device that eventually went on the web. And this gives you a lot of insights about how your customers are navigating to your platforms. So it's pretty exciting, right? It's pretty complex. It can be used in many scenarios. What do I do, or what do you do as a product manager once you've had that big dream? You start to write requirements. I have a wiki or a document or so on, which I write requirements of what I want from that visualization in your example. You go, engage your team. The team is pretty excited because you are building a new visualization, which is very complex from the technical side to handle so many data and aggregate it in order to do such complex rules. In the same time, leadership sees the opportunity to have a new enhancement to your product, which can be sold or can increase the customer adoption, because this is one of the pillars from your company vision to increase adoption. You had a very good nap, to be honest. You have ideas, the team loves it already, they want to implement it. Perfect. Let's start to build it. So after a year's worth of working, you started to get ready to celebrate. Code is ready, you are preparing your build tools to send it in production, and just open the fresh beer to celebrate. Before telling how you celebrated, I want to break for a story. And I want to share Marty Kagan's story about how he started as a software engineer and then moved to product management. For those of you which do not know Marty, He's the author of book Inspired, one of the fundamental books in product management. It's called How to Create Products That Customers Love. In his book, Inspired, he starts with a story from his own experience. Back in the days, when he was a young software engineer, part of HP, he has the opportunity to work in a very strong team, very technical excellence team, which had a task to create a workstation, general purpose workstation. The team worked countless hours, lost a lot of nights, but after around a year of work, very similar to our story, they actually managed to deliver it. The product has a lot of success in the market, meaning in the stakeholder reviews. It was also covered in the press. Everyone considered that piece of workstation very innovative because it was something that was not done at that moment. They were pretty close to celebrate, as we are with our story, but there was a problem. Can you imagine what? The problem was that no one bought it. The market was not ready to buy an 100K workstation for those kind of use cases. It was too early. Customers were not ready to pay the money for the risk. And Marty saw that the output that they've created, the workstation, right? If we remember the story, they started from a task. I want you to create a workstation. No one asked why. Going back to your story, imagine what happened to your follow-up visualization. Well, being a new feature, of course, initially, it gave you a bit of adoption. So based on your metrics, you can already see some traction in that. But measurement is not just happening at the beginning. You need to do it over time. In a period of time, something happened. Your metrics and alerts are starting to jump. Your stakeholders start to send you meetings. But why? Suddenly, there was a big decrease of user adoption. And everyone asked, but why? Because I've created a new feature. Initially, customers did engage more. What happened? We haven't introduced anything new in the last couple of months. I will leave this question open to you and guess if you figure it out in the next slides. My first director, PM director, had a very interesting saying. Each time we had problems, and in a big company, corporation, you always have problems. He always referred, there's a reason why we are paid the big bucks. And of course, not just product management, everyone is paid the big bucks if he delivers. Let's see another approach of how to actually deliver ideas into production that will create the desired outcome. Before going in what worked for me, regardless of how you choose to coordinate a team, create a project, do customer researches, always stop to the why. There's a theory in sales, the 3 whys, but can be applied in any kind of industry like product management. Ask why, and ask why. Because if, let's imagine, we are going to a customer meeting, and they are saying, hey, I want follow-up visualization. It's impossible for you not to have follow-up visualization. The other companies have it, or maybe they are very close to create it. But why? Why do you need follow-up? What is the use case that stops you from achieving your needs? What are the other options besides the fact that you might want that visualizations? What are the other problems that you have? Not just focus on one particular one, but understand the portfolio of needs from that customer. Moving forward, I want to share 3 important aspects that worked in my collaboration with product teams, stakeholders, and customers. First of all, you are a product manager. Your job might start when you dream, and you dream big, but in the same time, once you get awake, you need to look in the market. You need to understand your segment of users. You need to understand your competitors, understand what's the biggest problem in that segment that you are trying to get in. Maybe you are just a fresh new company that wants to get a piece of the pie. Then your research will be in a way. Or maybe you are already in a big analytics customers and your retention is the most important thing. You need to be sure that you retain your customers. You need to make data-driven decisions. So I'm going to research on different tools like Goldmine, Forrester. I want to understand more and more to have data about what's the need in that particular segment. Steve Jobs, I'm not a big fan of him, but he had very good principles. One of the things that stick with me along the years was, if you want to have an efficient team and you want the products to be aligned, you need a vision. That vision from the company, which you can also help the company to obtain, or if you're a big corporation, maybe it will be a top-down, but you still can influence. The company vision will help you, will give you the meanings to get that market research. You understand the landscape where you are, but in the same time, if the customer wants follow visualization, for example, but your company vision is to do a whole different thing, you might be in conflict. So getting that research very well defined, then understanding the branding of the company, the vision that they have and where is the direction moving forward, that's very crucial if you want to succeed. I had different, working at Adobe, I have different teams, and everyone tries to be innovative, as we all do. And sometimes there are roadblocks in doing that. So some of them are looking for shortcuts without involving the stakeholders in the decision, but rather involving the teams and delivering it. There were occasions where projects were stopped in the middle of the development just because it was not aligned with the stakeholder vision. So it's a thing to always consider. Is what I want aligned with the market and with the company vision? But so far, those are only words, right? Not very applicable if you want to start tomorrow. So what worked for me, and again, this is just a recommendation, it doesn't need to be this way, but I hope the principles will guide you, is to have a product, very well-defined product lifecycle. And I have 5 important areas that I focus. And this is an iterative program. So I have pre-discovery, discovery, planning, prioritize order of execution, measure impact, right, as we did initially in our story, and then once back, depending on where you are. So let's deep dive in them. Pre-discovery, this is the most hated part of product management. If you ask 10 product managers, maybe more than 8 from them will tell you, leave pre-discovery, start discovery. What does pre-discovery means? It's the place where you get your hands dirty. So you have on one side the market research, you understand the segment and the needs on that segment in the market. On the other side, you know where the company gets the vision, the mission, and so on. You started to glue them up, right? But what about the users? What about the actual customers that will want to use it? How do you get the insights from them that those two things are glued perfectly? Well, the way that I always refer is pre-discovery is the glue between the two areas, meaning I need, once I understand a bit where I'm heading, to start engaging my users. Interviews, direct contacts to them, surveys, you name it, depending on your company profile. For example, in a big corporation like Adobe, before you can get to actual customer, you need to engage with sales, marketing, legal, and so on. You understand their pain points and their views because they are closer to the customer, and then you can move on the next iteration to actually engage the customers. Why do that. And again, this is very intensive. I mean, it's very manual. Imagine only creating a survey to 1,000 users. Out of those users, maybe 50 of them will respond. Then you need to understand the impact of that. How can you shape it in order to create a raw backlog of ideas? Because this is how actually backlogs are created, with 3 areas of work: market research, understand the company needs, and the user needs through discovery, rediscovery, and so on. Perfect. Let's go back to our story, just to keep it in context. So you did all those 3, took you a time to do it, and you managed to find out, actually, that the problem of your users was not the lack of features, but the product was too complex. Unless they were like an analyst persona, it was very hard to build those visualizations. Not imagine including Fallout as another option, which is very complex to build, that eventually frustrated your users more. And you can see that by measuring the impact. As I said at the beginning, you start to see a decrease of adoption, not an increase of adoption. People got frustrated about the complexity of the product, as not everyone can be an analyst to build those tools, right? We are PMs, product marketers, and so on that want to use analytics or other tools. Furthermore, as I said, you need to do some research in the market to see your competitors. Your competitors didn't bother too much in including a lot of features, but rather their North Star is time to value. How much it takes for my users to get value of my product from the point where I implement it to the actual exposure to the users. You did that. You understood with data what was the problem and why your initial idea didn't work, because I will emphasize with data, because if we just follow opinions, it might work, but at the same time might not give you the real outcome that you want. So you did the research, and just for the sake of imagination, your raw backlog has 2 ideas. One is, okay, my users are struggling a bit with using the product, then why not incorporate a seamless learning project in my analytics tool, get different content that they can access based on each visualization or place they are in the product. So for them, even if they are not an analyst, because I'm assuming that an analyst, and I'm not just assuming, the data tells that analyst knows how to use it, they can eventually be a mini analyst and build those. Or the second one is, okay, I have a problem with the users that are not analysts. What can I do? Let me shape my product in a way that can be used by other personas. For example, for me as a product manager, when I get in the analytics environment, I don't want to build anything. I just want some predefined dashboards projects that I can look and measure my user adoption, for example. I don't have time or even knowledge to create those visualizations. So putting your money on serving other personas will once increase the time to value, secondly will add new users and thus increase your customer adoption. But now that we are here, you as a product manager, at the end of the day, you need to prioritize it. You can't build both of the ideas, right? We don't have resources for such a thing. So which one do you choose? I will leave this question open for you, because it's not that simple just to prioritize. This is one of the hardest things that you do as a product manager. Out of so many great ideas, with data, great ideas, right? Which one do I choose? Because it's impossible to do all of them. Before moving in the next life cycle iteration, I would want to break again for a story. I want to share Rodrigo's story about how she assembled a team of South American individuals to reach the Mount Everest summit. They were the second team to do that via the Kangshan phase. And he shared some interesting takeaways. You can't reach the summit unless you have a very strong team. A team that can know how to collaborate one with each other, fault resistance. They understand how to communicate and offer feedback, but in the same time, you don't leave no one behind. Product managers are informal leaders. We don't manage people, right? So we should not care about that. But it's not true, because no one builds your ideas for you. You are coming with the ideas, you are spending all your time in research, you are writing the requirements, then how do you assure that that team will actually deliver? Why should they care about your ideas? Just because they are paid? Doesn't work very much in our industry. Then your focus is very important on the team. Is your team inspired by what you've created? Did you manage to translate the vision to your team in order for them to feel motivated, but also to understand that what they are working on have a great outcome in the business, but also for the company? That's why I split pre-discovery to discovery. Normally, in most of the books about product management, you won't find pre-discovery, you will find directly discovery. But for me, it's very important that I know that pre-discovery is my part, discovery is our part as a product team. Meaning that once I understood the whole landscape, I've created my raw backlog, I know the need, customer did tell me that, I need somehow to turn my team in my evangelists. The first reviewers of my ideas will be my team. Because you maybe don't have enough time to go directly to the customer. You can get valuable feedback from your team. Your team can tell you, hey, this idea sucks, it won't work with our system. Or your idea is great, and you can feel that they are engaging and they want to move ahead with it because it's sticked, the idea sticked with them. And it's not just about inspiring your team to believe in you, but also use their skills. It's very important, and I know it's hard to fail, like we build our babies, we don't want to fail, we want to succeed each time. But failure, it's a very good thing to take in consideration. That's why when I build things, I always have a prototype. I work with my product team to create a prototype, a small demoable thing that I can go in front of my users, which can answer some of those risks. Feasibility, is it technical doable? Value, will our customers love it? Usability, can this be used? If we go back to our Fallout visualization, it was very complicated to be used. Business value, again, we need to align with the company vision to be sure that we deliver the right business. And of course, nowadays, laws and legislations, we can't just build everything. You need to be aware of the risk with the regulations. Keep in mind, your team is the best asset that you can have as a product manager. And the same goes on the other direction. If you are a member of the product team, use your product manager. Challenge him. Ask him, but why do you want me to build that? It's a crappy idea. I don't like it. Convince me to do it. Otherwise, maybe I will lose interest in building that. Or I will lack that vision about what actually needs to be built, and I won't take it in consideration when I write my code. This part is their part. I finished working with them on what's needed. I validated my prototype with the users. I gathered feedback. I changed my requirements. Now I need my team to do planning. So in the discovery phase, they were able to give me some high-level estimations about what it means based on those risks. Now I want them to give me a more concrete delivery date. And you will see in the prioritization why is this very important. I want them to tell me it takes me X amount of months, complexity, and so on. Only after I have all those informations, from the pre-discovery, discovery, planning, market research, and so on, I can actually say that I can prioritize my backlog. And how can you prioritize your backlog? There are different ways. I mean, everyone does it how they feel fit, but what stuck with me was scoring my ideas. So even if we think at our small backlog of the 2 ideas that I've just shared in the presentation, I need to understand business value. What's the score there? Time to value. Again, if my team tell me that on idea 1 takes 6 months and on the second idea it takes 1 year, is it good enough? Maybe my users don't have enough patience to wait a year. And I will score that. Competitive analysis. Where is the competition? Maybe the competition already has it and user will just go there and get it. There's no reason for us to go there. User experience, adoption, and all the other things. You don't need to have them all, but as I always emphasize, use data to take decisions, not just prioritize based on dreams. And of course, measure impact. If you are not able to gather the information that you need in order to understand, was my idea successful, then you won't be able, one, to prove to your leaders that you did impact. Secondly, you can't improve your prioritization and product lifecycle because you don't have enough data if it was really a successful one. So that's why I always say product lifecycle is iterative. Regardless of where we are in the product lifecycle, let's say you did everything here, it went to engineering to be delivered, to be created and then delivered, and then you go to the next idea. While we need to go always to the next idea, never forget that things are changing. Re-evaluate with your users if the product goes in the right direction. Try to have iterative phases so you can actually be sure that you're on track. Try to engage your team to understand their confidence in the product and if it will be delivered on time and so on. So always reconsider your backlog if it's in the right priority, if the team is engaged and so on. And let's say the Easter egg, like I emphasize, is community, right? We are here to learn one from other. You get a lot of insight from your organization, your market, and so on. But communities gives something that you can't find anywhere else. Gives you those ideas or those examples of successful stories, failure stories. I know people don't actually share many failure stories, but those are very inspiring because it shows you how you manage to oversee a challenge that might make your team very demotivated. So I enjoy a lot being here in the community and learn from you. Hopefully you will also get some good insights from me. And by the way, which of the two ideas will you choose? Will you choose the learning embedded in the project, or would you like another persona to be in your portfolio? I will leave it with you. There's no recipe for success. You need to try it, fail it, adapt it until it will work with you and will stick your idea. I'm on time. Perfect. Thank you. If you have any questions, please don't put them. And you can find me on LinkedIn for anything that you would like to share.
But we still have time, Alex, if you guys have any questions for Alex.
Sure thing.
I'm sure you have something to ask. If maybe not right now, maybe I can use this minute that has left. And since you mentioned in the beginning, Alex, about stories and that stories motivate, do you feel like maybe stories can also, or storytelling even more, could motivate the teams embark in your vision as a product manager?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, you need to sell your idea, right? And if you go in a store and pass on buy some products, maybe you want some of them, maybe not. But if there's a salesman there pitching at you and saying, hey, this is the best TV that you can get. Look at this light. Look how it can do that. Look at, you're a FIFA fan, right? Look how you can play with your PlayStation 5. And it demos you how you can actually use that product. Then you'll be very motivated to buy it. Same goes for product management. You need to emphasize to your team the grayness of your idea. Then they maybe will still say that it's crap, but at least you are trying to get to them and prove that that idea will actually make an impact in the market.
Thank you very much, Alex.
Thank you.